This is the video, A Portrait of a Teacher. May I have your name, please?
My name is Raymond Callahan.
And who are you to the videographer?
I am her spouse.
What is your occupation?
My occupation is I am a 4th grade teacher, and I'm also the head teacher of the school, which means I take over for the principal when she is out.
How long have you been a teacher?
I have been a teacher almost 17 years now.
Okay. Why did you choose to be a teacher?
You know, I get asked this question all the time. I don't know really how to ever respond to this question. I think it's a tough one because I think everybody gets into it for different reasons. I definitely didn't get into it for the summers. I guess growing up in poverty and in a poor neighborhood and never really having an outlet except, you know, you're supposed to be a factory worker by the time you're done with high school and you go right into the workforce, and I felt like that wasn't an option for me, and I started volunteering with local YMCAs and doing tutoring programs, and then it just clicked, and then I decided that I was going to make this my career, my profession for the, you know, remainder of my life. Not a job, not a 9-to-5 job, because it definitely isn't that. It's a full-time 24-hour job. We never stop doing what we do.
How has your teaching changed in the last year or so since we had the pandemic start?
So when the pandemic started, my district decided that we didn't get to have any contact with the kids anymore. We didn't get to have any contact with parents. We kind of just sat at home and they just handed out these packets. And so coming back into this year, you know, we knew it was going to be a remote learning environment. We knew it was going to be new for the kids. I'm a very tech-savvy, creative person anyways when it comes to this profession. And I feel like to be the best in this profession, you have to adapt to your needs of that profession. So the adaptation was technology was fully integrated. We had remote learning, which I had never done before, and then kids started coming back, and so we had kids in class, and currently still have kids in class, and some that are at home because parents get to choose. And so my teaching has changed to be a little more on camera, and you know, this profession is a lot about 3 things: entertaining, teaching, and care. And so building those relationships this year to make sure that they're there, because parents are at home now and they can see us full-time as well. It's just a whole different atmosphere, but I think it's a good atmosphere. For me, it's been a great atmosphere. I have a really great connection with my parents. I always have, but this made it so much better because it's more live time with them. I have a better connection with my kids this year than I think I've ever had, because they totally miss coming to school, so they want to be there every day. I think just to make it more of a way for them to come every day, because that's the goal of teaching, is to get them there to learn. And it's always difficult in building, but to now do it remotely, you have to adapt. You have to adapt to every change that comes along, and I think I've done a pretty good job doing that this year. And I plan on keeping some of these things even when they do come back to school.
What do you think your biggest challenge has been the last year?
I think the biggest challenge this year, usually I'm that well-prepared teacher, and I build this atmosphere of fun engagement. I think one of the biggest challenges is to keep them engaged totally. I've kind of figured out ways to do that. I still think it still needs some work. But it's been interesting because I'm so used to being that prepared teacher, having everything done, ready to go. And this year has been, I have to take it week by week, which is kind of new for me because I'm not that one who likes to go really slow with things, especially with planning. And having done this for so long, I kind of know the craft of the particular grade level I'm in, so and know what needs to be taught. So it's kind of difficult in that terms. Also, the whole it's been difficult to keep the same things that are going on, like evaluations, teacher evaluations, and classroom walkthroughs, and assessing state assessments and things like that, because that's been a challenge. Because in this pandemic world, it's a whole different atmosphere, but to keep things like that the same has been a real challenge for not only me, but some of the other staff members, including even some of our parents and our kids, because we are trying to keep things similar to what we did when they were in building, and we just can't do that. So it's just impossible in a pandemic.
Try to give them some continuity.
Yeah, continuity, consistency. I get the consistency and I understand the consistency, but I feel like oftentimes, again, it's an adaptation. So I feel like where we adapted as teachers, higher ups from us did not.
Where do you see yourself going from this point within a career, within teaching?
Become a reading specialist to get my master's degree in elementary education, and become a reading specialist and what we call RTI specialist, which is interventions with reading, and which is my passion. I don't see myself leaving my classroom quickly. My heart's still in the classroom. I love the daily interaction and doing that kind of stuff. So it's hard for me to figure out like where I want to transition after. I think one of the goals is to become a reading specialist for either a particular school or a district, really revamping the reading programs, making it more worthwhile than reading, because that's where we lack a lot of times in the profession. Is we're lacking the cohesive structure in reading and the fun we used to have with reading. We don't have that anymore. It's more like here's your curriculum and do this. And I don't want that. I want to change that. I want to change it to be more of a engaged subject. So my goal is to become a reading specialist, and hopefully for a district at some point, and then eventually move on, and I will get my PhD in elementary education with reading and literacy as the focus. And I already have published articles, so hopefully publish some more articles on the profession and teaching, and then maybe eventually write books, and go on talking tours, and maybe even possibly start my own consulting firm for teachers for professional development.
What do you like to do in your off time?
In my off time, I think this year I really figured out that this year is really that where you need to figure out your off time as a teacher. I'm usually involved all the time in teaching all the time. If you ask my wife, she'll tell you that I'm married to the job and she's my mistress. It's in my off time I like to bake. I love to bake. I love comic books, so I do baking off of comic book themes, characters. I love to do that, and I also love to be humorous with people and sit and watch movies. I love to just sit and watch movies sometimes, and old, new, anything. That's one of my favorite pastimes, or just sitting around just listening to music. I absolutely love music, so that's how I spend my off time.
Well, thanks for taking the time and talking to us.
You're very welcome.
There.